Hi, I'm Dr. Sana Hashmi. I'm a fellow at Taiwan Asia Exchange Foundation. And this week in my Print Taiwan China column, I analyze the growing engagement between Russia and North Korea and also how is China viewing it. So, as usual, this column is heavily focused on the Chinese discourse on the issue and followed by my own views on what it means for China and what is the Chinese discourse is on the issue. So, of late, we have witnessed an unprecedented surge in high level engagement, both military as well as diplomatic, between Russia and North Korea. So, this growing cooperation is underscored by the recent Russia North Korea Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty that was ratified on November 9th. So it's a worrisome development for a lot of countries, particularly in the West, and primarily because there is a key provision in this treaty, Article 4, that specifically stipulates that both countries have to commit to mutual military assistance in case of aggression or attack or threat from other countries, and it raises significant international concerns. So that actually tells us that the military cooperation engagement between North Korea and Russia is actually deepening. So while Russian officials insist that this alliance, this cooperation is very much aligned with the international law and, in fact, kind of unrelated to the ongoing conflicts both in the Korean Peninsula as well as the Russian Ukraine war. But of course, despite these reassurances, despite these words, there has been Western skepticism about this growing engagement. And I do feel there are some valid reasons behind that. These concerns are not really unfounded. So the implication of this deepening alliance actually extend far beyond bilateral relationship. This goes much beyond the cooperation between Russia and North Korea. So in fact, this growing alignment is sparking alarms not just in the West, but also in China. And this, of course, does not come with a surprise, where China sees itself as a superior partner, as a country on which both Russia and North Korea depend on heavily. So, this is, of course, a very worrisome development for China as well. So, of course, the official stance has been that both the countries are sovereign nations and they're free to do what they are doing and what they want to do. But deep within, this is something that kind of makes China apprehensive, and specifically about its sphere of influence, about its position within this trilateral dynamics, as well as forming an anti West coalition that China has been trying to form. So, even if you look at the historical reasons, China has shared ideological ties with both Russia and North Korea, which is actually united by opposition to Western dominance and hegemony. And in this, the current development is actually it's making Beijing increasingly wary of being sidelined as Moscow is reaching out to North Korea, strengthening its partnership with Pyongyang. And China, that consider itself a superior power with both the countries, might feel that it is being excluded from this dynamics. And perhaps it might also lead to instability in the region where China is not really being kind of taken into consideration. Its ideas and its interests are not taken into consideration. So, on Chinese social media, and in fact, on a number of academic platforms, there has been a number of commentaries on this topic. Discussions are buzzing about the reported deployment of North Korean troops to Russia's Kursk Oblast, and also Moscow's reciprocal offer provision of advanced military technology to Pyongyang. So there are a number of Chinese analysts who are highlighting how this relationship benefits North Korea more, and specifically in areas like space technology, where Russian expertise could help overcome Pyongyang's challenges, such as failed satellite launches. So we have seen a number of failed spy satellite launches in North Korea. So this is something where Russia perhaps could help North Korea, and this is one of the objectives for North Korea, reaching out to Russia as well. And then additionally, Russia's oil exports to North Korea also create interdependencies. And this might also potentially reduce North Korea's reliance on China. But despite recognizing North Korea's growing dependence on Russia, Chinese commentators express concern about this independent um, evolution of Russian North Korean ties. Some voices are also emphasizing the importance of the trilateral between China, Russia, and North Korea, to counter Western influence, Western dominance. Yet other see Kim Jong Un's direct engagement with North Korea, with Russia, bypassing China as a deliberate move to exclude Beijing. So this is something that is coming across or being discussed as intentional, at least among Chinese social media. Then a broader concern emerges here, and the question that is being asked is that can a Russia, North Korea, or also if we include Iran, access sustain itself without China's active involvement? Can it actually present viable coalition against the West if China's active participation is not there? And most of the Chinese voices agree that it really cannot. And as a global manufacturer, leading global manufacturer, China's industrial capabilities are unparalleled. And there is this consensus that without Beijing participation, any long-term alliance would likely falter, and this is not going to be as effective as perhaps with China's active participation. But at the same time, some in China argue that staying out of this alliance particular, or also out of some of the ongoing conflicts, it would allow China to avoid overextension and overstretching its resources. So, with tensions already high due to the 2022 third missile defense system episode, and the differences between China and South Korea. So there is this concern that if China also becomes more involved within this broader Russia North Korea alliance, it could further lead to instability in Northeast Asia and could also undermine China's regional interest further. So, in fact, it's a blessing in disguise for some in China that China is kind of excluded from this regional um, coalition that is being formed to counter the Western dominance. And apart from that, China is finding itself in a delicate position. So its partnership with Russia remains central to its anti-Western coalition. Yet Moscow's pivot towards North Korea, it raises a lot of questions about the durability of this relationship. And in fact, if you look at it, since at least the start of the Russian-Ukraine war, this is something that we have been talking about, that how China has been aiding Russia and how Russia has been a junior partner to China, and this is a coalition that West has to be kind of apprehensive of, worried about. So this actually raises a concerns with respect to Chinese regional interest, as well as China's attempts to form a coalition against the West. So for Beijing, ensuring its dominance in this trilateral dynamic is immensely crucial. It aims to remain the primary partner while subtly reinforcing the dependence on both Russia as well as North Korea. But ultimately, the growing Russia North Korea alignment does reflect a shared desire to assert autonomy, to challenge Western dominance, as well as to reduce dependence on China. And in fact, if we look at the approaches of China and if we compare it with the approaches of North Korea and Russia, China has been projecting itself to be a neutral party, to be a country that is looking to establish regional peace and stability. But if you look at Russia and North Korea's approach towards West, they have been very aggressive and they have been vocal about, in fact, the potential use of force if that interests are being threatened. So there is definitely a deep contrast in approaches of China and Russia and North Korea vis-a-vis the West. So perhaps it is also this is also one of the reasons why Russia and North Korea are finding it more compatible, more comfortable to engage with each other rather than forming an alliance with China and being treated as a junior partner. As in, of course, we have to really see how and what impact does it actually create. Is it going to be as effective as perhaps with China in the picture? But as in, this is something that a lot of Chinese scholars, a lot of Chinese internet users are not very sure of and not, in fact, very optimistic of. But I think what we have to agree on is that this evolving dynamic will have far reaching implications, not just for the Russia Ukraine conflict, but also for the Korean Peninsula as well as Chinese strategic goals. So to conclude, I would say that I believe for Beijing, preserving its influence in this delicate triangle, this is just not a matter of prestige. This is just not a matter of being the superior partner in the dynamics. It's also a strategic necessity. So no matter what, China definitely wants to be included, wants to oversee what's happening, and between Russia and North Korea, and what is the extent of this partnership and how it is going to impact the regional security. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.